The Crucible is a famous drama written by American playwright Arthur Miller. It was first performed in 1953 and is set in the context of the Salem witch trials, which occurred in Massachusetts in the late 17th century. Here's an overview of the play. Setting: The Crucible is set in the Puritan town of Salem, Massachusetts, in 1692. The story is based on historical events, but takes creative liberties to explore the themes of hysteria, paranoia, and the abuse of power. Plot: The play begins with a group of young girls being discovered dancing in the woods, a forbidden activity in the strictly religious and conservative Puritan community. Fearing punishment, the girls accuse others of practicing witchcraft. As accusations spread, the town descends into a frenzy of Salem witch trials. The Crucible is set during the Salem witch trials of 1692 in Salem Village, Massachusetts. The trials were a series of hearings and prosecutions of people accused of witchcraft. Over 200 people were accused, and 20 were executed, mostly women. The trials were fueled by religious fervor, social tensions, and a belief in the supernatural. Puritanism: The inhabitants of Salem were Puritans, a strict Protestant Christian sect that believed in a highly conservative interpretation of the Bible. Puritanism had a significant influence on the culture, laws, and daily life in the Massachusetts Bay Colony during the late 17th century. McCarthyism: Arthur Miller wrote The Crucible in the early 1950s. During the era of McCarthyism in the United States, McCarthyism was characterized by intense anti-communist sentiment and the persecution of individuals suspected of being associated with communism. Senator Joseph McCarthy's hearings sought to identify alleged communists in various sectors of society. The Red Scare: The fear of communism during the Cold War led to a climate of suspicion, political witch hunts, and the blacklisting of artists, writers, and intellectuals who were accused of having communist hysteria and paranoia. The Crucible explores how fear and hysteria can lead to the persecution of innocent individuals. The witch trials serve as a metaphor for the Red Scare and McCarthyism in the 1950s, during which Miller wrote the play. When the fear of communism led to the persecution of un-American activities, the abuse of power. The play highlights the dangers of unchecked authority and the abuse of power by those in positions of leadership. Characters like Judge Danforth and Reverend Parris use their authority to further the witch trials, even when they suspect the individual versus society. The play examines the conflict between an individual's conscience and the pressures of society. Protagonist John Proctor, for example, grapples with his own moral choices in the face of societal and legal expectations. Mass hysteria: The Crucible illustrates how groupthink and mass hysteria can lead to irrational behavior and the scapegoating of innocent people. As more accusations are made, the town becomes increasingly divided and paranoid. John Proctor, a central character. Proctor is a farmer who becomes embroiled in the witch trials. He struggles with guilt over his own moral failings and tries to save his wife and friends from false accusations. Abigail Williams, the primary instigator of the witch trials. Abigail was once John Proctor's servant and has a personal vendetta against his wife, Elizabeth. Reverend Parris, the town's minister. Parris is concerned with maintaining his reputation and authority. He plays a role in fueling the witch hysteria. Elizabeth Proctor, John Proctor's wife, who is wrongly accused of witchcraft. She represents moral integrity in the play. Judge Danforth, a judge who presides over the witch trials and is determined to maintain the trials' integrity, even in the face of mounting evidence that they are based on. The title The Crucible holds significant thematic and symbolic importance within Arthur Miller's play. Here's an analysis of its significance. Symbol of purification and testing: A crucible is a vessel or container used for melting and purifying metals through intense heat. In the context of the play, the title symbolically refers to the intense heat and pressure that characters in Salem face as they are tested, challenged, and purified by the witch trials. It represents the crucible of moral and emotional turmoil they endure, metaphor for a severe trial. The word crucible also serves as a metaphor for any severe test or trial in the play. The Salem witch trials serve as a metaphorical crucible, in which the characters' moral and ethical qualities are tested, their actions and decisions are put under extreme scrutiny. Moral and ethical themes. The crucible delves into themes of morality, ethics, integrity, and the consequences of one's actions. The title underscores the moral dilemmas faced by the characters as they navigate the pressures of the trials, revealing their true character. Allegory for McCarthyism. Arthur Miller wrote The Crucible as an allegory for the McCarthy era in the United States, where individuals were subjected to intense scrutiny and questioning regarding their political beliefs and affiliations. The title reflects the idea that the McCarthy hearings were a kind of societal crucible where individuals were tested and often suffered severe consequences. Heat of hysteria. The word crucible can also evoke the idea of intense emotional or social heat in the play. The witch trials generate an atmosphere of hysteria, fear, and paranoia, akin to the high heat of a crucible. Arthur Miller's play The Crucible is filled with symbolism that adds depth and complexity to its themes and characters. Here are some of the key symbols in the play. The Crucible, as mentioned earlier, the title itself. The crucible is a symbol. It represents the intense trials and moral testing that the characters undergo in Salem. The crucible is a metaphor for the pressure, scrutiny, and moral dilemmas they face. The witch trials. The witch trials are a symbol of mass hysteria, intolerance, and the abuse of power. They represent the dangers of a society driven by fear and fanaticism, where individuals are accused and condemned without evidence. The puppet doll. The puppet that Mary Warren gives to Elizabeth Proctor is a seemingly innocent object, but it becomes a powerful symbol and a needle is found inside it. This symbolizes how innocent actions or objects can be turned into evidence of witchcraft in the Terrano atmosphere of Salem. The forest, where the girls are discovered dancing and conjuring spirits, symbolizes the unknown and the forbidden. It represents the realm of the supernatural and the fears and desires of the characters. The Bible is a symbol of religious authority and moral guidance. It is used to justify actions on both sides of the witch trials, illustrating how religious texts can be manipulated to serve personal or political agendas. Giles Corey's stones. Giles Corey's refusal to answer the court's questions by simply saying more weight and being crushed to death with heavy stones is a symbol of resistance and martyrdom. His act symbolizes the refusal to participate in a corrupt system, even at great personal cost. John Proctor's signature. John Proctor's refusal to have his signed confession displayed publicly becomes a symbol of his integrity and moral redemption. He chooses to protect his name and honor, even if it means his execution. The Yellow Bird. In Act 3, Abigail Williams and the other girls pretend to see a yellow bird in the courtroom. This imaginary bird serves as a symbol of their deception and manipulation, as well as the gullibility of the court. Rebecca Nurse and Martha Corey. These two characters are symbolic of innocence and righteousness. Their wrongful accusations and subsequent executions highlight the tragedy of the witch trials and the injustice of condemning innocent people. The noose. The noose represents death by hanging, which is the punishment for those convicted of witchcraft. It is a constant reminder of the deadly consequences of the trials and the hysteria that grips Salem. These symbols contribute to the play's overall themes of morality, justice, the abuse of power, and the destructive nature of mass hysteria. They add depth to the characters and the events, making The Crucible a powerful and thought-provoking work that continues to resonate with audiences.